Hi class, again, I am obviously not in today. This time I am at a training for math, so we will do some things similar to yesterday. First, I would like for you to turn in your homework from yesterday, which was workbook page 170. Please put that into the basket. You will not need your Chromebooks today, and as a reminder, since I have been gone both Monday and Tuesday, we will be reviewing Lesson 8.1 and 8.2 on Wednesday and Thursday to make sure that all of you understand what we are trying to do. To begin the day, I would like for you to find the area of each of the circles. You should have remembered that the area of a circle is pi r squared, r being the radius. Reminder, in the first two, we already have the radius. In the second two, we have the diameter. So we know that the radius is half of that diameter. Please pause the video. Allow students to figure out the area of those four circles. Have some discussions amongst the students. And when you are ready, please restart the video to have me show you the answers. Hopefully you had time to discuss and come up with some answers. As a reminder, you can use calculators. In this first one, we have the radius of 13. So 13 times 13 is 169. Take that times pi, and we will get 169 pi, or rounded to the nearest tenth, we would get 530 and 9/10 square meters. Remember, area is squares, not cubes. Volume, as we were doing yesterday and today, will be cubes. In the second one, 20 times 20 is 400. We there have 400 pi, or when we multiply by 3.14, we get 1,256 and 6/10 square centimeters. In problem number 3, first thing we have to do is we have to find the radius. The radius is half of 18, so we take 9 times 9, which is 81, get 81 pi, or 254 and a half square inches. This one's a little bit tougher in that it is a decimal. Half of 25 is 12 and a half. When we take 12 and a half times 12 and a half, we get 625 divided by 4 pi. That equals 490 and 9/10 square feet. Again, you could divide this out. You would get approximately 156 and 25/100 pi, which again would equal the 490 and 9/10. Today, our essential question is very similar to yesterday in that it is, how can you find the volume of a cone? In yesterday's lesson, we came up with the volume of a cylinder. The cylinder was volume equals the area of the base times the height, which yesterday we had the area of the base as pi r squared h. Today is very similar in that the volume of a cone is 1/3 the product of the area of the base and the height of the cone. So our formula for this is volume equals 1/3 the area of the base times the height. Again, the area of the base is a circle, so we will go pi r squared h times 1/3, or divided by 3. In our first example, find the volume of the cone. Round the answer to the nearest tenth. In order to do that, we need to figure out that the diameter this time is 4 meters. Therefore, the radius is half of that, so we know the radius is 2. Again, we can write the formula for the volume of a cone, 1/3 the area of the base times the height. Next, just like yesterday, we are going to substitute in our numbers. 1/3 pi, r is 2 because we know that it is half of that 2 squared times the height, which is 6. So when we get this taken care of, this would be 4 times 6, which is 24, divided by 3, which gives us 8 pi, and that equals approximately 25 1/10. Therefore, the volume is about 25 1/10 cubic meters. We could also write this as an M3. Our second example is very similar to the one that we did yesterday with the cylinder. We are supposed to find the height of the cone. Round your answer to the nearest tenth. This time, we know the formula volume equals 1/3 the area of the base times the height. We are going to substitute a little bit different in that we are going to substitute 956 in for the volume. We are going to keep the 1/3. We know that the radius is 9, so we will substitute in 1/3 9 squared times h. Again, you can see 956 is the volume. The radius is 9. We keep the 1/3. We put in our pi, and we've got h. So this is 81 divided by 3. Once we get 27 pi, we can divide 956 divided by 27 times 3.14. When we do that, we will get 11.3 is approximately the height. Again, we are rounding to the nearest tenth, so our answer is the height is about 11 3/10 feet. Our next examples are for you to try. In example number 1, find the volume by taking 1/3 pi r squared h. In the second one, we do know that the radius is 15. We have the volume of 7,200. See if you can find the height. Please pause the video to allow students to work on this, have a discussion about how to solve those, and when you are ready, please restart the video to get the answers. Hopefully you had time to come up with some answers. In this first one, we have 6 squared, which is 36. We can take that times 15 and then divide by 3, which would give us 180 times pi, which is also 565 1/2 cubic centimeters. We could also take 36 divided by 3 right away and get 12. 12 times 15 is 180, and we would still get the same answer. Remember, multiplication is able to be done in any order. In the second example, we have 15 squared, which is 225. When we divide that by 3, we get 75. We then take 7,200 divided by 75, and we get 96 divided by pi, which gives us 30 6/10 yards. That is the height, so it is not cubic yards. It is just yards. Our next problem is the first in our application problems. You must answer a trivia question before the sand timer falls to the bottom. The sand falls at a rate of 50 cubic millimeters per second. How much time do you have to answer the question? The first thing that we must know is how much sand is in the timer. So we need to find the volume of a cone. 1/3 area of the base times the height. In our example here, we have the area of the base, the radius of the base as 10. So we are going to substitute those in. 10 squared times 24 times pi times the 1/3. When we take this, this is 100 times 24, which is 2,400. Therefore, we will get 800 pi, or 2,513 cubic millimeters. So we have that many cubic millimeters in our timer. We know that 50 takes 1 second to go down. Therefore, we can take 2,513 divided by 50, and we will have approximately 50, and 2600 seconds. So our answer probably is that you will have about 50 seconds to answer the question. In our last 4 problems of the day, I want you to find the volume of the cone. Again, the first 2 have the radius for you. The first one, the radius is 9. The second one, the radius is 4. In the second 2, number 3 and number 4, the diameter is 16. So remember, the radius is half of that. And in number 4, the diameter is 11. Therefore, the radius is half of that. Please pause the video, allow students to come up with answers. Please discuss those answers, and when you are done, please restart the video for the answers. Hopefully you had time to answer all 4 questions. Again, the radius is 9. 9 times 9, because it's 9 squared, is 81. Divided by 3 or times 16 and then divided by that gives us our answer of 432 pi. If we take 432 times 3.14, we will get 1,357 and 2/10 cubic meters. In example 2, we know that the radius is 4. 4 squared is 16. 16 times 12 divided by 3 gives us 64 pi. When we multiply 64 times 3.14, our answer becomes 201 and 1/10 cubic inch. In example number 3, we now know that the radius has to be half of 16, which is 8. 8 times 8 is 64, times 10, which is 640, divided by our 3, which will give us 213 and 1/3 pi, or 640 divided by 3 pi, which equals 670 and 2/10 cubic centimeters. Our last example, 5½ squared gives us 30 and 2500ths. When we take that times 14, we get 423½, and then we must divide by 3, and therefore we will get 847 divided by 6 pi, or when I divided it out on my calculator, I got 141.16 repeating. That multiplies by pi, and we get 443½ cubic yards. So as a reminder, we need to take 1/3 the radius squared times the height. 1/3 the area of the base times the height. Area of the base is pi r squared. Your assignment for today, please spend the rest of the time working on it. It is workbook page 174. We will be turning them in on Wednesday. And again, as a reminder, I will be doing a review of 8.1 on Wednesday and a review of 8.2 on Thursday. Have a great day.